Hey guys. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. If you are a returning subscriber, then you would probably know a little bit about my background with health and fitness and the fact that it has been quite a journey with me, just kind of figuring things out and navigating through the ups and the downs of trying to better yourself, live a healthy lifestyle, look good, feel good, you know, all of the things. And I just want to kind of share with you guys my trials and tribulations and the mistakes that I've made so that way you don't have to. These are, I think, really common ones, and just based off like conversations I've had with friends and things that I've done personally and just other people's videos that I've watched, all of that. It seems like these are really common ones and a lot of people still continue to do them. So if you are looking to like embark on a fitness journey, or if you're just trying to get healthier, whatever it may be, here are some mistakes that I made that I want to share with you guys so that way you can watch out for these too. The first thing is following what other people were doing, like influencers or friends of mine or other models or just people in general, and changing what I was doing, not listening to my own body and figuring out what works for me, but just taking bits and pieces of what other people were doing and giving that a go for a week, or giving what this other person was doing for another week, or like being so frustrated why things weren't working for me that seemed to work so well for other people, like a specific diet, for example, or specific way of eating, like eating really small portions 1,000 times a day. Or you wonder like, well, why isn't it working for me when it works so well for them? First of all, you're a completely different person than them. I know it's easy to say that, and it's harder to kind of take that fact into consideration when you're seeing someone be really successful with their fitness journey and you're like, well, why aren't these same tips and tricks that they use not applicable to me? And that's just where patience really comes in, and you have to realize that like it's going to take a lot more than like a week or a month or a couple months, sometimes more than a year, to figure out what really works for you. And I was listening to a podcast and the guy was like, okay, sometimes you just kind of have to take it as science and just try a couple things out before they work for you. But my problem was I wouldn't stick to anything long enough to see if it really worked for me. I would constantly be switching up what I'm doing because I would be seeing what other people were doing and thinking that that was better, because I didn't see immediate results with something that I felt like was more tailored to me. I would logically know that like, okay, this is a better approach for me, but because I was wanting to see results, I would switch it up so fast because I saw somebody else doing X, Y, and Z. And that's the problem nowadays. We're flooded with so much information online, which on one hand is great because it's like super accessible to get free knowledge and free information about things like this. Whereas like when I was first starting out on my fitness journey like years and years ago, I was doing so many of the wrong things for myself because there just wasn't as much information, or I guess as much of like honest information. Sorry, my dog again is playing with his squeaky toy. He always plays with this squeaky toy when I'm filming, so I'm really sorry. And number two kind of goes hand in hand with number one, and that's trying all different kinds of diet fads. The problem with those is that they do work for a short period of time, but unless you have a plan as to what you're gonna do after that diet is over, you will most likely gain the weight back because you're just gonna go back to eating how you were before. It's better to figure out a sustainable plan that you can do long term, as opposed to a diet that you're gonna do short term and then figuring out what you're gonna do to come back from that diet and then get back to a normal routine, because that's like double the work for you. I had to learn that the hard way. I did a lot of short-term fixes and cleanses and detoxes and all of that, and I realized that every time I went back to eating normal, I would just gain the weight back. And so I was constantly in this yo-yo cycle, which was a huge contributing factor to my poor relationship with food and my kind of binge restrict patterns. So yeah, fad diets, not a good thing. Now I've realized I try to eat primarily healthy. I try to eat primarily whole foods, like real food, a little bit higher in fat, less processed carbs when I'm cooking at home. That's not to say that I don't eat that kind of stuff whenever I feel like it. Like I had a bagel yesterday, I had a pastry the day before, I had quesadillas the day before that. Like I kind of allow myself to eat what I want, but I just know that like overall, because I'm exercising and eating mostly healthy, those little things don't make a huge difference. That for me has been the most sustainable lifestyle change that I was able to maintain weight on pretty effortlessly. Third thing is ignoring sleep and stress. I had this big no days off mindset, and I think the pandemic shifted that a little bit, but then after things started opening up and gyms started opening up, and I started working again more, I kind of went back to my old ways where, like, I remember I would be on a red-eye flight to New York, then I would fly back to LA after working a full day and go straight into a training session, and that just wasn't doing my body any good. I was way overexhausting my body and putting so much physical stress and emotional stress on my body that I wasn't seeing the results I wanted because I didn't have enough time to recover. So I also realized that, like, I was just a really stressed out person, because as much as the physical stress was a huge factor, emotional stress was just as bad, because I would be constantly worrying about, oh my god, do I have time to work out? I have to get a full-blown workout in. I have to, like, do this every day, no days off, like, blah, blah, blah. Every meal has to be healthy. And I was stressing about it so much that, again, because of that stress, I was retaining so much water. My body was so inflamed and just pissed at me, because I went essentially 0 to 100, and I thought that, like, in order to be healthy, you have to be, like, balls to the wall, only healthy, work out every single day, super hard, like, super high intensity cardio, super high intensity, like, weightlifting circuits, just the whole nine. And every single day I would be doing this, and I think it really just was too much for me. This also caused me to be super fatigued all the time. I was super hungry all the time as well. All I wanted to do after my workouts was lay around and eat, and it caused me to dread working out, and essentially just, like, created this burnout effect and, like, inflammation and fatigue. So overall, 0 out of 10, don't recommend doing that whatsoever. Number 4 is doing workouts that kind of go against what I want for my results. I'd be wondering why I was not getting the results that I want, but I was working out so often, and I realized that I wasn't really optimizing the time that I was spending doing workouts, because I was working out for way too long when I could be doing workouts that would benefit my physique goals and benefit my body and work better for my body and my goals. And I was looking at people who had completely different goals from me and kind of copying what they did, because I maybe wanted to look like them, or I thought that that's what would work for me. And this goes back to number 1, where you think that you have to do what other people are doing, even though you know that in the past that hasn't worked for you. Why do you keep doing it? We always get into these cycles. It's the yo-yo dieting cycle. It's the whole, I need to do what this person does. And I would see these girls who were naturally slim and tiny, and they built themselves up to have, like, these nice abs and an hourglass figure and a booty, and I would be like, okay, I need to do the workouts that they're doing. And they would be lifting super heavy, or doing Barry's boot camp, or doing all of these, like, higher intensity, like, running workout classes, or lifting a lot of weight and doing this all the time to, like, create these results. And I realized, I was like, I am in a completely different boat than these people. Like, I don't need to build more shape from what I already have. If anything, I can create muscle tone. I can, obviously build lean muscle in a way that doesn't put so much strain on my body, and do lower impact workouts, which are good for people like me. And if you struggle with weight issues, sometimes really intense workouts can actually make you eat more. So just things like that, where I was like, I'm putting on size, I was actually gaining weight, and yeah, you could say, like, you're gaining muscle, but with that I was also gaining fat and inflammation, and I just wasn't happy with the results. So, like, sure, I was gaining muscle, but, like, my body didn't look the way that it wanted to, and it looked bulky, where muscle isn't actually bulky. It's like you either have a lot of muscle or you have a little bit of muscle, and you're just building muscle regardless of what kind of exercise you're doing. It just, the way that what I was doing wasn't what my goals were. It just didn't align with what my goals were, and I was trying to force it because I felt like that was the right thing to do. And I would see other girls that were trying to put on muscle and put on weight and be like, okay, I should do, but their bodies looked amazing, and I'd be like, all right, I should do what they're doing. Whereas I needed to realize that we don't have the same goals. Like, yeah, they want to maintain their lean physique, but they already started with a lean physique, whereas I did not. So that was a hard pill to swallow. I realized that I can't just do the workouts that other people are doing and expect the same results, because you don't know their starting point, you don't know their metabolism, you don't know what all they're eating and all of that. and your goals could be entirely different from theirs. So again, it sucks. It's a difficult thing to understand, but it's going to be trial and error. You're going to try some things that you're like, wow, I really thought this was going to work for me, and it actually did not. Like spin classes, for example. That was something I did for a while in Barry's boot camp. I tried that and I would leave so dead, red in the face, feeling like I was gonna die. Yeah, I burned like 700 calories, and then I would go and eat those calories back throughout the day. By the time, even if I could suppress that hunger for like as long as possible and just eat my like normal size portions, by the time nighttime rolled around, oh my god, dude, I was ravenous. I would want to eat everything in sight. And again, I was exerting so much energy that I should have been fueling my body more, and I should have been eating more. Like, that's what you're supposed to do when you're exerting that much energy. But I would try to fight it as much as possible, which again perpetuated this whole binge and restrict situation. That was just not good. Number 5 goes hand in hand with a previous mistake, and that's essentially that I had this idea in my head that unless I was sweating, unless I was dying, unless I felt like I had kicked my own ass to the moon and back, I wasn't working out hard enough. And I always equated the fact that I didn't have X, Y, and Z results with the fact that I was like, I would kind of talk down to myself and be like, well, no, I'm just lazier. I'm just not as athletic as these people. I just can't work out the way that they do. And if I just pushed myself a little bit harder, if I just ran 1 more mile, if I just did this many more reps, if I just did a few extra sets, if I just stayed at the gym for another 30 minutes, if I added in an extra workout, if I started doing 2-a-days, then I would reach those results that those people have. And again, all of this is kind of comparison, which is so sad, but like we live in such an era of comparison with social media, and it's coming at you at all angles between TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and Twitter and like real life. I live in LA, like I, you know, am a model and influencer. Like this shit is in your face 24/7, and you see what other people are doing and you think that if I just push myself that extra bit harder, I will be where I want to be. And again, it's just not the case. Even if I were to achieve what I wanted to achieve, I would probably have deteriorated my physical and mental health, which would definitely not be worth it. But I have to say, there was a point in time where I thought for what I could give at that point, being totally underfueling my body and overextending myself in terms of exercise, I would like to say that I pretty much gave my all. And the results that I was able to achieve doing that was just not, it's like I'm in the same place. If I'm trying to say this in a way that makes sense. I am the same size and weigh the same amount. I am so much more happy, and I am living such a balanced lifestyle compared to how I was before. And at that point, I don't even understand how restrictive I was being. I mean, I'm giving myself the benefit of the doubt here, like old me. I probably knew a little bit that I wasn't being that healthy, considering how always tired I was and how I would say no to social events and stuff because I thought I was being healthy. But still, I did this with good intentions, and I really thought I was being healthy. But all this is to say, I am achieving the same results now, eating probably twice, if not 3 times the amount that I was eating before, and working out once or twice a week in a completely different way, like extremely low impact. I leave feeling energized, and I just want to say this, guys, because I want you guys to understand that it doesn't have to be that way. And if you're in a place where you feel like you're giving your all and you're trying so hard and you're not achieving the results that you want, hit subscribe, follow along. I'm going to be sharing so much more with you guys because I have just come to this epiphany recently, and it's been such a struggle and such an uphill battle for me, where I was like, you know what, this is so frustrating, I'm just going to straight up give up. I could talk about this more in detail in a different video, but you know, I gained 15 pounds back from my absolute lowest, and then I've gone down since then, and I've really gotten to what I'd like to think is such a better place with my relationship with food and exercise. And it's been such a recent change, but I have seen insane results just from this. And I just want to share this with you guys because I'm so passionate about it, and I just don't think anyone should have to go through what I went through and what so many of us girls and guys go through to achieve a physique that we're not even going to be able to maintain when you get there, because, which is essentially what happened to me, because you try so hard to get it in ways that are not sustainable, and there is a sustainable way to get there, and you can reach your goals, but you just have to have patience and a genuinely trust in yourself and your body in the process, and it will happen for you. Anyways, my last mistake that I made was basing all of my progress off the scale. I would weigh myself every day and be like, oh, I went up a pound, or I went down a pound, or I, you know, whatever, and feel like my progress was solely measured on what that scale said. The problem with that is there are so many, I know this is like so oversaid and whatever, but there are so many factors that play into what that scale says. Like, I would weigh myself obviously first thing in the morning, like you go pee and then you weigh yourself. After that, you are going to go to the bathroom later on in the day. That plays a factor. You might have worked out the day before, you might be retaining more water, or you might be a little bit more inflamed because you are building muscle, and so that technically is a form of inflammation. There are just so many different factors. Sorry to like bring poop into this, but like that is a huge, that's literally a huge part of what the scale says. Water weight. Some days when I eat like a lot of carbs, or you know, I go out to eat more than once in a day or whatever, the scale will definitely say something different the next day. Did I just gain 3 pounds in one day? Absolutely not. And I would really beat myself up over it and allow that to dictate how I ate and exercised for the next few days after that. And again, this still created this whole binge restrict situation with me, where I would eat super clean and super healthy and like not go out, not do any social commitments, and blah 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 blah, and then I would find myself baking a whole batch of brownies and eating every single one and being like, silly me, like I just can't control myself around sweets, that's why I never have them around. No, I have since then been able to bake batches of brownies, bake cookies, have chocolate in the house, and eat a serving or 2 if I feel like having a little bit more, and keeping that there in the fridge for a week, as long as, you know, until we finish it, until I share it with my boyfriend and we finish it. Like, that is normal. That is how your relationship with food should be. Not, I can't control myself around sweets, so I need to eat the whole thing. I mean, obviously there's different ends of that, and I don't want to be insensitive to certain people's needs and whatever. Like, just for me personally, I have realized that the scale and I, you know, we're not exactly besties, and it really would be a hit on my mental health. I could be feeling so great that day, and I would step on that scale and it would say something that I wasn't expecting or I didn't want to see, and it would completely change how I viewed myself. And I noticed that. I was like, you know what, this is so messed up. Like, I thought I looked so good, and this one thing just like kind of effed me up for the rest of the day. So yeah, the scale, you know, especially when you're first getting into your fitness journey and, you know, you have a goal, that's fine. It's fine to have goals like that. That's okay. But to base all of your progress and happiness on the scale is really going to be toxic for a lot of people. I would say if you're going to weigh yourself once every 2 weeks, once every month, maybe once every week when you're first starting out, any more than that is too freaking much. And then once you're kind of like in your fitness journey, I would say the most that you should weigh yourself really would be like once a month. And that's even like if you need to, like if you really feel like, oh yeah, I just, you know, like to know, okay, cool. But like if you find that that's something that gives you anxiety, even at the start of your fitness journey, if you're weighing yourself every week to 2 weeks and you find that that's something that's really like hindering your progress in a sense because it's messing with your mental health, nah, there's so many other ways that you can measure progress. How are you feeling? How's your energy? How are your clothes fitting? You know, photos, anything that could be more positive as opposed to just the number on the scale. So that being said, I love you guys all so very much. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want any more content similar to this. I'd be happy to do so. And I had so much fun filming this. I want to open up more with you guys and share more of my story, because I know that it's tough when you put yourself out there on a platform like this, and I want to just be a source of positivity, and I want to show my fitness journey, my before and after, and like, yeah, it's been a long time coming, and I am really proud of how far I've come. But I have gone 1 step forward and 2 steps back a million times in my journey, and that is so normal. And I want to come on here and be vulnerable with you guys because I'm sure it's going to happen to you as well, you know? And if I can spare you from making a few of the mistakes that I made, then my job here is done. Anyways, I love you all so very much, and I will see you guys in the next video.